Alright, how is it going, fellas? It is day 2 of the transformation bulk, and we're hitting a pull day. Yay! If I sound unenthused about the pull day, I'm actually not. Nothing radiates gym energy like a back day, a white monster, and Creed playing in the background. But today we are working with a pull day, and we're going to be kicking everything off with a lat pull down. Now, speaking of this lat pull down, I actually did not want to start with a wide grip lat pull down. I really wanted to do a close grip lat pull down, but you know what I couldn't find? The attachment I like. So we did a wide grip lat pull down anyway. Unlike the push day that you would have seen yesterday, or maybe you haven't seen, but you could go check out yesterday's push day, I don't like to start my pull days with my heaviest exercise. I instead kind of like to warm up a bit with I wouldn't say less intense, maybe a less strenuous, I don't know, with a less strenuous exercise, and for me that's a lat pull down. It really helps engage the muscles of my back, and it helps warm up my shoulder and the rest of my body to be able to handle going heavier for a row. So when I'm starting my pull day, I start off with a couple warm-up sets of a lat pull down, then I'll do a couple working sets with a lat pull down, and then if all is going well, we'll move on to my first row. In regard to form, there's a few things I do want to mention as I'm working through these lat pull downs. For one, I am really focusing on increasing my range of motion. So I am kind of stacking my joints. My wrist is going above my elbow is going above my shoulder, and that puts my arm basically in line with the rest of my body. So it's a little bit of a increased range of motion than than what I'm used to using. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's a bit of an increased range of motion than what I'm used to using. So I've been doing this for the past couple of weeks. My shoulder feels a bit better. It's not clicking as much while I'm doing that lat pull down. So if you get some shoulder discomfort when you're doing your pull downs, maybe change up the form a little bit. And then in terms of how much my back is moving, I kind of see it as what's moving first. If my elbows are driving down towards my hip, and that's what's moving the weight first, and my back moves out of the way so I can get a deeper range, and that's perfectly fine. If I am leaning back and I'm using my lower back to just kind of cheat the rep, then maybe lighten the load a bit. Another thing that I'm kind of focusing on when I'm at the very top of my rep here is I'm kind of pushing my shoulders up. I'm extending my shoulders up just a bit. So when I lead, I'm really focusing on driving my elbows down and pulling my shoulder blades down towards my hip. That kind of helps me imagine the muscle working a bit better. Apparently that was a top set. I think it was 187 for 6, but that was the last set for my lats, and now we're moving on to row. And we're following a trend here. I didn't want to do this either. I wanted to do more of like a T-bar row, but that was being used at the moment, so I thought it's been a while since I used this, so we popped in with the low row, and honestly, I think I need to start using it a bit more because I don't give it enough credit. When I am in here, my chest is supported by the machine, and I'm able to focus on driving my elbows back and kind of wrapping it around my back, driving my elbow towards my hip. I think another great aspect about doing these machine low row is, aside from completely biasing the lat and really focusing on that lat contraction, um, I can go pretty freaking heavy with this. I mean, relative, right? That's heavy for me. It may not be heavy for you, but I can go pretty close to failure, and not risk injuring anything too much. Yeah, I tried, didn't get that, but we followed that up with some rear delt. Um, you know, I think I said this yesterday, but the lighter, or sorry, the smaller the muscle group, the lighter weight you should be using. So when I'm setting up this rear delt fly, I'm only pulling, I want to say 30 pounds. I'm only pulling 30 pounds. And I'm actually setting up the cable to where when I bring my arm down, the cable itself is just about in line with my arm at the bottom of that range. It's not going to be 100% perfect, unless I guess your body is the exact height where it is, but for me it's not 100% perfect. It's usually a little high, but when I'm having it straight like that, I can really focus on squeezing and allowing my when I'm like this, I can really focus on squeezing that rear delt, and it's more in line with that natural path of motion for that muscle group. And a quick, mention about yesterday's video. I realized after uploading it that the audio for the voiceover is only coming out of one side. So I think it's only coming out of the, I want to say it's only coming out of the left side. Apparently the voiceover for CapCut, you have to do this weird, channel split thing, and I wasn't aware of it. But just the other day, I bought a new lav mic, so it's the Rode Wireless Me. So this one is going to be a voiceover, the next one is going to be a voiceover, but after that it should be mic'd up. Alright, so after finishing up those rear delt flies, I'm moving into a kind of controversial pick. And that controversial pick is going to be the upright row. Now, classically speaking, the upright row is, controversial because of the potential for shoulder impingement. But there's a few things that you can kind of do to reduce that risk and make it a pretty good exercise for working the shoulder, the traps and the front delt during your pull day. Primarily, you lift lighter than you need to. Again, follow the concept here of small muscle, small weight. So if I really wanted to, I could go heavier, but I'm not really going heavier than 70, at least not for a little bit. Maybe I'll push it up to 80 in a couple weeks from now. Another thing I'm kind of doing here is, especially with the second set, because I watched back and realized I was going a little too high, I'm kind of limiting that range of motion. I'm not really bringing my wrist all the way up to my shoulder. I'm bringing it right about to my about mid-sternum, honestly about in line with where my nipple is, which is a weird, metric. But that's kind of where I'm focusing on driving that weight to. And I think the final thing in terms of making this a safer exercise is focusing on driving the weight upward with your elbow, keeping your elbow above the wrist, and slightly externally rotating your shoulders so that you're reducing that risk of impingement from that internal rotation. And if that all sounds too daunting or you don't want to risk it, another safer option would be doing the exercise with dumbbells. Because with dumbbells, it's less restrictive and you can just kind of follow your natural body path as you drive the weight upwards. Anyway, friends, we're just about done now. I'm probably looking at the time and, going like, oh, I need to get to work. That's probably what I'm doing. I think I'm speeding things up a bit. But we're going to finish it up with one exercise for my biceps. And I chose the incline bicep curl to really focus on targeting that bicep in the lengthened position. So if you're unfamiliar with your biceps, they're made of two muscles. If you took Latin in school, bi, two, there you go. The bicep the bicep brachii long head and bicep brachii short head. So when you have that muscle completely stretched out, like in the incline dumbbell curl, you get a little bit more activation of that bicep long head than you do in a conventional, standing curl. You get a bit more activation in it with a preacher curl if you're going all the way towards the bottom as well. I will note that as I am working with this and as I'm setting it up, I am focusing on getting my incline to such a degree that when my arms are relaxed, my arm is behind my torso. And that's the amount of stretch I'm looking with. I've seen some people, set their incline curls up where they're on like a true incline, like they're about to do an incline press. And I think personally that is a little bit too steep. I can't get a good contraction there. I don't know. I'm going to say up to that degree is personal preference. My arm doesn't comfortably go back that far if I have my incline set up that severe. So what I really use is, about 45 degree here. Maybe, I probably set it up to about 65 degree incline. So almost similar to what I'd be doing if I were gonna do a front biased shoulder press. Another little training tip for really focusing on that lengthened position of that bicep is at the very bottom here. I'm actually squeezing my tricep, and I'm squeezing my tricep to make sure my arm goes all the way back down. So when I go for my next rep, I have to go all the way back up. I'm not stopping short. So that's why I give it a little bit of an extra squeeze here.
Come on.
Alright, I think that was the third set, going straight to failure, so it's time for the pose down. See ya.